The ground at Agincourt was soaked in mud and blood, yet the victory itself was a lie.
It was not a triumph of skill. It was the final pivot point where English tactical brilliance shattered into strategic failure. For centuries, history treated Agincourt as the moment of English martial ascendancy. It was a testament to the longbow and the fortune of Henry V. But what if that battlefield success was only the most spectacular sign of a catastrophic strategic flaw?
This is not a story of arrows and shields alone. It is an autopsy of a nation that achieved stunning military victory, only to suffer irreversible political and economic collapse. We must dissect how tactical genius, disconnected from viable long-term statecraft, becomes a self-inflicted wound. The lethal trap of tactical perfection. The immediate aftermath created a dangerous bias, the belief that martial prowess could solve political problems. Henry V and his commanders delivered a stunning defeat to the French nobility, slaughtering their leaders in a narrow field. This was tactical perfection, a demonstration of how to maximize casualties against an overconfident enemy. But this perfection blinded the English command to the necessity of urban pacification and sustained administration. The success on the field did not translate into stability off it.
The immediate focus was slaughter and spoils, not the agonizing process of governance required to secure the conquered territories.
The brilliance of the tactical maneuver became an obstacle to long-term peace.
This created a profound disconnect. The military elite won the battle, but they failed to grasp that winning a war is not achieving an end. It is merely securing temporary advantage.
It was in this failure to pivot from battlefield glory to statecraft that the English trajectory began its irreversible decline. The economic hemorrhage of constant war. To understand the true cost of Agincourt, we must examine the systemic economic hemorrhage caused by maintaining a continental military presence.
Sustaining a permanent garrison in France required a logistical drain across treacherous terrain that far exceeded all spoils gained from the skirmishes.
The Lancastrian treasury was built on a raiding economy, designed only for plunder and immediate gain. This system was structurally incapable of pivoting to the complex demands of colonial administration or sustainable territorial governance. Investment in high-tech military assets, like the longbowmen, represented a massive expenditure. Yet this was tragically countered by the total lack of sustained investment in cross-channel logistics and reliable supply lines. The English state committed resources to holding territory that could not be managed or exploited for sustainable revenue. This created a perpetual deficit. The war machine consumed the state's ability to generate wealth. Every tactical victory was merely a temporary reprieve before inevitable economic collapse. The diplomatic backlash of total victory. The scale of the French defeat at Agincourt had profound geopolitical consequences that destabilized the entire European balance. The sheer magnitude of the rout did more than shift power. It unified a fractured French nation. They forged a singular identity defined by resistance against English encroachment. This national cohesion fueled a relentless desire for revenge. This mobilization was channeled through diplomacy. Events like the Treaty of Troyes sought to extend English claims beyond their physical capacity to enforce them. English ambition outpaced their ability to establish secure borders or lasting alliances. The massacre of captured French nobility at Agincourt further poisoned the political atmosphere. It destroyed any remaining moral authority. Instead, it ignited a generational insurgency, transforming foreign enemies into internal ideological adversaries.
The victory became less a statement of power. It became an act of aggression, demanding retribution. As England poured its focus and resources onto the continental frontier, domestic stability suffered catastrophic neglect.
Manpower was drained to the wars abroad. Attention was diverted from vital internal governance. This vacuum allowed domestic tensions, the rivalries within the aristocracy, to erupt into full-scale conflict. The frustration of the military aristocracy, steeped in the expectation of grand conquest, became a volatile catalyst. The failure to translate external military dominance into internal political stability manifested directly in the chaos of the War of the Roses. This civil war was not a localized feudal struggle. It was the inevitable consequence of prioritizing tactical expansion over foundational domestic order. The focus on holding French soil meant essential domestic institutions were hollowed out. The social contract frayed as resources were directed entirely toward external threats, illustrating how an obsession with conquest leads to self-destruction. Lessons from the Lancastrian collapse. Tactical brilliance is a liability when divorced from grand strategy.
The English achieved a brilliant, narrow victory, yet this success offered no pathway to lasting peace or sustainable empire. The failure was not in the execution of the battle. It was in the failure of leadership to understand that true power resides not just in the immediate moment of conflict, but in sustained management of resources, diplomacy, and domestic legitimacy.
When military dominance fails to translate into political stability, even the most audacious victory becomes the prologue to ruin. Agincourt was not a triumph. It was the definitive moment when an empire lost its future. The deadliest enemy is often the strategy one chooses after the sword has been drawn. This pattern of focusing solely on immediate military advantage over long-term political cohesion echoes across history. Victory on the battlefield is merely an initial condition. True dominion is built in the slow, meticulous work of domestic consent and sustainable governance. The tragedy at Agincourt transcends the mud and blood. It becomes a metaphor for any ambition that neglects the foundational realities of the people it seeks to control. The legacy of this misplaced focus was woven into the fabric of subsequent European history. This instability fueled centuries of internecine strife. Internal rivalries were simply larger expressions of the same fatal miscalculation, prioritizing transient conquest over enduring stability.
From the conflicts that tore the continent apart to the rise and fall of empires built on fragile foundations, the lesson remains immutable.
The pursuit of external glory, divorced from internal legitimacy, is a formula for collapse. Agincourt was not just a battle. It was the genesis of a profound struggle between temporary power and lasting order. The greatest strategic failure is often abandoning holistic vision for immediate, narrow gain.